And the pictures will come up on the thing so they can see.
I can tell them what this is, but and I'm so grateful because the other day I was looking and I said I should have finished the book, and I was
But it's okay.
and these are years ago. But that's Hov Lanes. He was behind there in the front, and I think he said he was out there today, and I said, what? Last thing he said, I didn't have a manifest. So 3449 Hov Lane, and that's where I live. I can't be more explicit than that. And that just tell me the street.
But you're doing fine. But if you put yourself on
This is very Can I say what it is?
Well, I'll talk to you later, okay? You're welcome. You have a good day. All right.
I look for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, and we'll call to order the meeting of the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada. Ms. Maynard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission. Your first item is to conduct your first citizens' participation.
This is the first time set aside for public comment. Those wishing to speak to the board on a posted agenda item, now is your opportunity. Please state your name for the record. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Good morning.
Good morning. My name's Larry Fosgate, a local citizen and a concerned citizen and a frequent patron of the RTC. I have 2 little items I'd like to bring to your attention. The first is it's time for the board to consider service to our satellite communities. Mesquite, Laughlin, and Pahrump all have sufficient populations to warrant regular scheduled service. Would be a huge service to the people in those communities and to the people in Las Vegas, because many of them would be able to travel on public transportation for less than their own cost of transportation, which would somewhat limit the amount of traffic on the roads to and from those places, and it would also afford them an alternative for those who cannot provide their own transportation to make medical appointments, airport connections, and to do shopping or to just visit friends, and for the people here to visit those communities without having to drive there on their own. But that could also be done with buses that are either fully electric or hybrid electric. There are hybrid electric buses now that are available. Fully electric buses, it's time you put that on the front burner. Studies have shown that a fully electric bus on a city route can save as much as 11 cents per mile. Now, if you think of the miles that the RTC runs on its buses and you divide that by 9, and that's exactly how much you would be saving. Now, if you make your own electricity by putting panels over your parking lots and keeping your buses a little bit cooler and putting them over your maintenance facilities and things like that, the cost would be even less because you'd be making some of your own electricity. Now, I understand the study has started and you're getting a couple of buses soon, but if you put it on the front burner by 2025, Southern Nevada could be a model of how a public transportation system can serve its entire community green and economically. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on a posted agenda item?
Oh, right here?
Sorry.
Oh. I'm 85 years old.
No, ma'am, 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 ma'am.
I have no life.
Okay.
Giovanni, the supervisor, picked me up today, called me and said he was at my door. When I went outside, there was no Giovanni, there was no bus. I said, bus, car 54, where are you? And he came from behind, he came from Lori Lou Lane, not the alleyway that I'm in. He said he had no manifest, just my address. And I'll show you where he picked me up. Now this is the picture. And the house on the left is where he picked me up, but then there's a space and I live in the alley. He picked me up in front of this house that says 3449. So he apologized, but that's what happened to me yesterday. They went to 3449. They didn't go to the alley and pick me up there. Then, and here's the space we have for the buses to come in. Oh, no, it has to be this one. This is the space we have for the buses to come in. Plenty of space. And where I live, everyone's spending for a living, so there's no parking where I live. And then here's another picture of how they have to come, and the bus is supposed to be where the man is standing, and the space inside is where I live. Okay, let's go further. This is where I live. That's my door. 3449 Lori Lou Lane, Unit D. It's like a horseshoe. Then here are the garages to show the space. No, it has to be here. The garages are here. But isn't it that way? Oh, it's from up there. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. Everything's so modern. I thought this would be like Judge Judy, where we'd have to draw pictures. I watch her religiously, and I know why she speeds. She speeds because if she listened to everyone for hours, there would be no program. Okay, then here's more that shows you the space that the buses have to come in, and there's no parking. You park, and you live there, and you get penalized. And there's the end of my alley, right there. This is such an honor. Thank you. And that's where the bus driver parked this morning and parked yesterday, and I was a no-show. And it's so aggravating to wait for the bus, and you know you're waiting, and they say you weren't there. Where did I go? I live at the same place. Where did I go? Well, these are the streets where I live. We have 4 streets. And I just love where we live. And did I
All right,
make myself
ma'am.
clear?
For the record, can you state your name on the,
Pardon me?
Can you state your name in the mic? Your name and address.
My name? My name is Joyce, Joyce Hattab, Hattab.
Joy, thank you so
As I
much.
said, January 15, I'll be 95. I still have my marbles.
Thank you. Judge Judy is speechless. Thank you, and obviously we have someone talking. Anyone else wishing to speak on a posted agenda item? Seeing and hearing no one, will close this portion of public comment.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, the next order of business is to approve the agenda.
Hold on just for a second.
One more?
Did you want to speak?
Oh, sorry.
How about after, unless it's a specific agenda item? Are you able to stay for the meeting? Yes. Okay, then we'll call you first up on the second public comment period. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, Mr. Chairman, the next order of business is to approve the agenda, and the agenda is in order and ready for your approval.
I move approval of the agenda, Mr.
There's a motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the next item is the CEO report. And the first item in today's report is to recognize our two superstars of the quarter from the RTC. Our first superstar is from our Metropolitan Planning Organization Department. In this individual's position, it is highly important to monitor each contract associated with the various projects to ensure costs do not exceed the contract amount. She looks over requisitions with a fine-tooth comb before submitting them to the finance team. The requisitions that pass through her are always perfect, with all backup documentation included. The projects that she works on are never over budget, saving time for both the MPO and finance department. Please help me in recognizing Karen Marin. By the way, Karen's husband and son joined her today.
I thought I was coming to celebrate someone else, so sorry she didn't win. Glad I did. Do I get a free day off for this? Thank you.
Good job, Karen. So our second superstar of the quarter is a member of our government affairs, media, and marketing team. He is uniquely versed in specialized subject areas and often sought after for his knowledge and skill set. He provides expert feedback when approached with a question and is always ready to roll up his sleeves to look for solutions and pose with a challenge. Recently, he took on the monumental task of redesigning the agency's website, which has not been updated since 2012. The project was completed in just 12 months and at a fraction of the expected cost, yay, due to his tenacity and hard work. Because of his leadership, the new website greatly improves our customers' experience. Please join me in recognizing Jesse Diaz.
Jesse? Speech time. Well, they did a good job in fooling me. So I knew something was up when I saw one person in the audience, and she threw me off. And I was like, uh-oh, something's going on. But thank you to everyone, our executive team. Thank you so much to my senior director over there. Actually, new title. I keep forgetting new title, but thank you. To Angela, the rest of the team, and everyone. It's a great honor to be up here, and thank you for recognizing me.
Yay, Jesse. Okay, so, yes. Now we'd like to recognize an operator from our contractor Keolis, Donna Henderson. Ms. Henderson was driving on Route 108 Paradise when she noticed a young boy at one of the stops alone. He seemed upset and disoriented, so she engaged him in a conversation to gauge the situation. She discovered that he was lost and had been trying to get home for hours. Ms. Henderson called radio dispatch, and Metro was able to reunite the boy with his family. Ms. Henderson's alertness and concern for her passengers were crucial in protecting a young child and bringing him home. We thank you for your quick actions and big heart. Please join me in recognizing Donna Henderson.
Thank you.
And of course, you get a chance to say something.
Just want to say I'm honored and I appreciate it, and I really enjoy being a bus driver.
Aw.
Thank you so much.
Got one more. One more. And now, next we have an operator recognition from our contractor, MV Transportation, David Navarre. Mr. Navarre has been an employee of MV's for the past 27 years, building relationships with passengers and helping millions of people get to their destination. He's in the top 1% of operators for his on-time performance and has never received a customer complaint. He attributes his success to always having a smile on his face and treating people with respect. Thank you for being a top-notch professional, Mr. Navarre.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
And of course, you get this.
I appreciate being recognized. It's quite an honor, and I have to say that working for the folks at MV, it's a really talented management team that's a very friendly atmosphere, and we enjoy being there. Thank you so much, and I hope I got a few more years left.
Okay, and Mr. Chairman, the next item is to receive the Nevada Department of Transportation Director's Report from Director Christina Swallow.
Thank you. We have a real quick report today. No slides, just addressing safety as we have been every month. As of the end of November, we are still tracking far below our annual fatality rate. This year, so far, that we've only lost 243 people compared to 308 by this time last year. And so 243 is still far too many, but it is a good sign that hopefully our numbers are starting to track down. In those numbers, pedestrian fatalities and unrestrained occupant fatalities are also remaining below the numbers for last year. For the coming month, our law enforcement partners will be joining forces to continuing to crack down on impaired driving and distracted driving. And I also noticed that there's been a highlight, if you're watching the Twitter, on speeding. All of these things contribute to the safety concerns on our roadways. And then also you may have seen recently the new Give a Click campaign from the Zero Fatalities program. Their commercial is focusing through the month of December, on why we buckle up, why we give a click, why it's important that we can get home at the end of the day. So that's a new safety campaign that's been rolled out. I did want to take a second and just talk quickly about wrong way driving, because since I was here last month, there was one that morning, and then since then there's been a couple more. And that is not the usual, that's not the norm. It has been a rash recently. But overall, they represent roughly 2% of our fatal crashes. So it is a small number. 2/3 of those are generally impaired, which is why we continue to beat the drum and remind everyone, don't drive impaired, don't drive fatigued, if you can. And we are continuing, as I mentioned last month, and as the articles have indicated, we are continuing to do what we can in terms of the infrastructure to alert folks if they did make a wrong decision and are about to enter the interstate in the wrong direction. We are continuing to work with our infrastructure improvements as much as we can. And with that, I'm done.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you very much, Ms. Director. I just wanted to tell you, if you could convey to your team a great amount of thanks to working, of course, with our director. I have a director, Mr. Dale Daffern here. Your cooperation and the help that we're getting in putting in safety devices along Lake Mead and the Civic Center area, very heavily traveled, lots of traffic, and we do suffer fatalities there, including pedestrian accidents. Thank you very much. I just saw some new barriers putting in, and this is one way that we'll be able to positively affect safety there in my city. And for a person who's lived and grew up and lived in the area, thank you so very much. We really do appreciate it.
Goodman.
Thank you. I can't get this working. Obviously, Brian. There it goes. Thank you. A little slow here. Anyway, I'm wondering, I know it would be offensive to some, but those teeth that if you go in the wrong way in the ground that flatten your tires, to me, every life's important, and were it somebody close. I know you've researched this, and there are reasons why we don't have them, and I'm having a hard time figuring out. I'd rather save that one life with those teeth, and the worst is it clogs up traffic a little bit at the entry, and you get the anger of the person going in the wrong way. Teeth in the road.
Thank you for the suggestion. I'll get back to you in terms of what the research shows on that and let you know. But we are definitely working on the signage and the alerts that we can do in the meantime. But we'll loop back with you directly.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councilman.
Chair. Thank you. I'd like to request an information item. I'd like to request an information item for the next RTC meeting, and it has to do with HOV lanes. As most of you know, I'm not a big fan of HOV lanes, and I think I represent quite a few people that are not interested in having HOV lanes in southern Nevada on 95 and 215. And if it was up to me, we would eliminate them, but it's not up to me. Recently, the City Council, the Las Vegas City Council, passed a resolution 7-0 to at least go back to the limited times for HOV lanes in the morning and in the afternoon instead of being 24/7. It passed 7-0. We sent it to the state. Nothing came of it. But what did come of it was a lot of questions have come up concerning these HOV lanes. I get calls, I get letters, I get Facebook posts, Twitter, the media comments on it. There's editorials. Channel 5 has this rant that comes up on a regular basis, letters to the editor, and people are upset that they can't use these lanes when they paid for them. They're upset that they're 24/7. They're upset that they're being enforced, and you can get up to a $250 fine. But what's happened is there's a lot of questions that have come up reference these HOV lanes, and what I'd like to do is, based on what I've heard, I've come up with basically 5 simple questions that I'd like to have as an information item at the next meeting. And if I could just ask that our director and Nevada Department of Transportation take some time and research these questions and make a very clear presentation at the next RTC meeting, because these are questions not from me, but they're questions from the public. They want to know the who, what, where, why, and how. So these are the 5 questions that I've tried to kind of filter from what I've heard people ask. And before I do that, what's the date of the next RTC meeting?
January 14th.
Thank you. January 14th. So the first one is who and what, under what authority created the HOV lanes? Number 2, Are they required under federal law regulation, under state law regulation, or any lawsuit that's been filed? Specifically, are they required under the federal grant to build highways in southern Nevada? Number 3, who and under what authority decided to make them 24/7 instead of restricted in the morning and restricted in the afternoon? Number 4, apparently there's a study being done of the HOV lanes. So I'd like to know who is doing the study, what's the methodology, what exactly are they studying, how long will it take, and can the study result in the elimination of HOV lanes? And the 5th one is, does the Regional Transportation Commission have any type of authority over HOV lanes? So those seem to be the questions that are being asked from me, and they're coming up, and I think it would be very helpful to siphon those out. The other, I guess, number 6, which really isn't it's kind of a complaint that I hear about people that use the HOV lanes. Sometimes they get scared when they get in the lane and then they can't get out because there's certain limited locations where you can get in and out. And they have to cross the double line just to get to the exit that they want to get to. So that's a complaint that I hear. It's a design process. I'll just throw that out there if that's something you want to take a look at. But realistically today, I drive 95 every single day, and the only people that are using the HOV lanes are landscape companies, moving companies that have 2 drivers, family taking their kids to school. Nobody's calling up their friend and saying, hey, you want to go to work today and double up so we can use the HOV lane? Nobody's doing that, which is kind of the purpose of the HOV lane. But just anecdotally, that's not happening today. That's not going to happen 10 years from now. That's not how people transport themselves around southern Nevada. So that's my own observation. But I think these questions would be helpful so we can move forward in the future when it comes to HOV lanes. So thank you.
And I sit corrected here. January 9th will be the next RTC meeting.
January 9th? Okay. And I would invite the public to come down and listen, especially the ones that are really interested in what's going on with these lanes that most people want them opened up, or at least go back to limited hours. But I think these questions will help the public decide what they want to do when it comes to voicing their opinion and making comments about the future of these HOV lanes. So January 9th here at 9 o'clock. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And also, I should have maybe brought this up at the manager's report, but we've been contacted. There's been a lot of dialogue as far as the SNRPC, whether they've disbanded or they're on life support. There's also conversation as far as other functions of the SNRPC that the RTC could continue. I know that we have a very strong program with Southern Nevada Strong. So if we could, Council, if we could put something on next meeting's agenda, which is January 9th, by the way, just have a discussion, and maybe invite those that are more familiar with it. And I think it's important that this board get the latest and greatest before we're asked to do anything.
Will do.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is to approve the consent agenda, which consists of items 5 through 34 and may be taken in one motion.
Entertain a motion.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And Mr. Chairman, there's no need for agenda item 35 this month. So we'll move on to your last agenda item, which is 36, and that's to conduct your last citizens' participation.
The second time set aside for public comment. Those wishing to speak to the board, now is your opportunity. Angela, if we could either bring the mic over or to our first speaker.
I am here today to thank Dan Holland for when he helped me back in March. This thank you has been long overdue. It was the weekend of March the 18th when I started having severe problems with prednisone. Checking with the pharmacies, they said, you have to see your doctor. You can't stop it, or you can't keep taking it. We cannot tell you. On Monday morning, I called my doctor, and the answering machine said that his clinic is closed for 1 week and he'll be back the following week. So the next thing that I did was call my oncologist. Dr. Jacks was at a convention, and she was not in. And I was really, really bad. And the operator told me that I could see her physician's assistant, but I had to be there in 1 hour and 20 minutes. It was a cold, rainy, windy day. I called RTC, and they no longer had the emergency ride for the day. And I talked to Dan Holland, who cares very much for the people that he serves and the service that he gives. And it was because of him that I got help. A couple of weeks before, I had my purse stolen from me with my cell phone in it. I could not call Lyft or anyone else because I didn't even have a credit card to give a cab driver. Because of him, I was taken care of, and the critical part was over with in a matter of 3 or 4 days. I thank you with all my heart for that, and I'll remember it forever. And that is the main reason why I'm here. I just have some other little things I'd like to mention. One is the Lyft program. It is absolutely wonderful. When you have a disabled person that is totally dependent, it is so great to know that you could do anything you want just by getting a little app and calling Lyft to come and get you. And I go to the Blind Center, and a lot of people are being signed up on your program, and they all are so thrilled to death. So I'm thankful for that. The next thing I'm thankful for that I just learned about was the text messages. They are so fantastic. It gives me time to make sure that my stove is off, the water isn't running, the lights are off, the door is locked, and I love it. I would also like to mention 2 people at your call center that anytime that I call, I feel at home with. They are wonderful, kind, and understanding, and that is Linda and Lewis. They are absolutely terrific. So this is all that I have to say today. Thank you so very much.
And could you state your name for the record, please?
Can you say Pat Kamala?
I'm sorry, I'm hard of hearing. I can't.
Can you say Pat Kamala?
Oh, my name is Pat Camella.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Do you want me to stand up? Good morning. My name is Shelley Jones, and I want to commend you guys for the Tango program. I love it. It allows me the freedom that I need to go to and from places. Larry Jones is wonderful. Matthew Garbin, who is one of the heads in charge of that, I told him I would talk about him too. He's a great person. As hard as he works, he's not always easy to get a hold of, but he does get back to you. And I love the Tango program. I also like and appreciate all the bus drivers for RTC. I know a lot of them, and they do work very hard with what they have to deal with the traffic out there. And Mr. Neely is really great, and I appreciate him as well. And Mr. Holland, as Pat had mentioned, is a wonderful person as well. And if it wasn't for these great people to help us, I don't think we would have the independence that we need. So I want to thank you very much. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
And thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Robin Kincaid. Robin, do you want Kayla to come up now or?
Yeah, come on.
Good morning. My name is Robin Kincaid, and this is the 16th time that I've come before the Commission regarding the restrictions of the parent transit service area that affect many individuals with disabilities on a daily basis. I also come today to make a formal request for some public documents that might explain which many in the public see as wasteful spending that has actually become a common practice. I'm requesting information regarding the Trip to Strip program that might explain the financial hit to taxpayers as a result of the program. I would also encourage the Commission to ask the RTC about the Trip to Strip program and decide based on the information if this is an example of some poor spending decisions. I also am going to submit those electronically. I did bring them with me today, so I'd like them part of the record, but I will send them electronically per the system that is already set up. My second formal request for documents is regarding the cost and the effectiveness of the RTC website. There's still some tremendous amount of concerns and some questions that are part of the public records request that I will be submitting as well. Also concerned about that the paratransit ride check program has been under construction. Actually, I can set that one. I don't know if you can see that or not. The ride check program has been in construction for months, and the current state makes it very difficult to use. For example, it doesn't have a logo at the top. It looks like it's a place for a logo. There's just lots of concerns, and it makes it very cumbersome, and I would imagine individuals with visual disabilities could really struggle at doing that. And finally, today you're going to have an opportunity in just a moment to hear, directly from my daughter Kayla. You see, our family goal is to help Kayla to become more independent and have actually some access to the locations that are part of her life. Unfortunately, here in Southern Nevada, we have actually created a segregated community where an agency dictates where individuals with disability will live, work, play, receive education, and visit the doctor, regardless if their home is even in the service area. And as a reminder, we do live in the service area. We just can't get places outside the service area. When Las Vegas made a commitment to provide fixed transportation system to the citizens in Nevada, they actually took on this obligation to provide paratransit services to persons with disabilities. Transit agencies are responsible for the cost of fulfilling an ADA paratransit mandate. I urge you, as we finish out this old year, 2019, and we look forward to the new year, 2020, please consider a plan to make changes to the service area. A new year is filled with hope and resolutions. Find a way to ensure that the wasteful spending stops, as well as ensuring that people with disabilities have access to services and locations. Please restore the service area back to the 2011 configuration. Thank you, and happy holidays to all of you. I'm gonna let Kayla talk now. Kayla, you need to come over by the mic, please.
Okay.
Go ahead, you can do it.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Caitlin Kincaid. I ride paratransit. Almost every day to UNLV for my school. And look, almost every day on paratransit to my church and to the post office and to my friend's house and to my brother's house. I live in a service area. I find a way to expand service area. I can't be able to get to get the places to the places that I need to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla. Stephanie Versnick.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Stephanie Versnick, and I'm speaking before you for the 22nd time. I'm asking this commission to expand the service area. I believe all of you have heard my story over 20 times. You all know why I'm here. I'm a mom speaking on behalf of my son who doesn't have access to transportation. I am his transportation. Most individuals with disabilities depend on family members, siblings, or close friends to get them to essential places. When they don't have those individuals to transport them, then what happens? Do they give up their jobs? Just don't go to doctor appointments or the grocery stores? These are not luxury places. These are essential for anyone to live an independent and healthy life. We all have jobs. We all go to the doctors and shop at grocery stores. Everyone on this commission leads an independent life. You can go to the grocery store, church, or the post office. If you couldn't go, what would you do? I've been asking this commission to expand the service area to give more people with disabilities access to transportation. I'm asking paratransit to take my son to work and to bring him home. It's that simple. As you go into this holiday season and you're spending time celebrating and making lasting memories with your family and friends, think about how many people you have isolated that are not able to be with family or friends over the holidays, simply because they have no transportation. It is my hope that this commission comes back next year with a true focus on the members who live and work and play in this community, specifically people with disabilities who are part of our community. With new leadership and a new year, perhaps we can have an expanded service area. I hope that this commission listens to the needs of this community. Remember this quote directly from the previous leadership. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? I hope that the when is in the beginning of January 2020. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Rita Varney.
My name is Rita Varney, and I've testified before this committee regarding the need for an extended paratransit service area for some time also. I am my daughter's voice until I have none. We retired in Las Vegas. We moved here for a job and loved it, found an area that we loved, and built our forever home. Prior to that, we were in 7 different states. A few of those states were a couple of jobs. Construction is kind of like the military. You move where the job is. That means I've moved my kids all over the country throughout their formative years. On every job site, I researched neighborhoods, schools, medical, shopping, sports, and social opportunities for my kids. That's close to 15 moves. I know how to do my due diligence and have done well, as I have one son who is career military with 4 deployments, and the other is career law enforcement on the SWAT unit. For my daughter, that's another story. A move to what I thought was a community that is safe, that allowed the single-level floor plan we required, close to shopping, a library, the YMCA, good schools, medical, and within 2 miles of a hospital, but yet you are telling me that I'm not in a neighborhood that matters. This week, Channel 8 disagrees with you. In an article on the 10 hottest Las Vegas neighborhood, my zip code is number 4 for buyers and number 6 for sellers. Out of those top 10 buyers, 3 entire zip codes are not serviced by RTC or paratransit. Top 10 sellers have 4 zip codes not being serviced. Another market trend noted that the article is more condos, more people. Do these articles not prove that there's a need for an extended service area in an area that is already booming with new homes and business? I have already brought to your attention how many schools, churches, funeral homes, assisted living, parks, medical, hospital, and other facilities that are inaccessible. As you are making grand plans for the new year, let me leave you with food for thought. Kansas City, Missouri City Council this week voted unanimously to fund fair, free public transportation citywide. This city council voted unanimously. The resolution was 13-0 to improve the safety, efficiency, and capacity, all at no cost. The demographics for Kansas City are not that far from ours. We are more dense and only 100,000 more in population and growing. These are residents that live here and pay taxes here. With Las Vegas resources, you would think we could do better, and I hope you will do better for the citizens who need it. Please extend the existing service area, or even better, include our whole city into all the convenience a select few have.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak to the board?
Good morning, RTC Board, Chair Brown, members, Alita Dupree for the record. You know, I love a good public meeting. Can't seem to get enough of them wherever I go. And so I've lost count of how many times I've come before you, probably at least 50, maybe closer to 100. I always try to bring new things. So I got a new update for my RTC app, the more user-friendly barcode and color bar, which allows me to scan it on the reader and show it to the driver, so I don't have to toggle back and forth if the reader is not working. And the Apple Pay functionality is something long awaited. This will help people who are coming here to this town, and when they find out about this, it's easier for them to buy bus tickets on the app, not have these long lines at the vending machines. So let's encourage our ambassadors to do more work in being able to say there is an app for that, and more people who visit this great town can use it. I have been thinking a lot about the HOV issue, and I don't know that I've used it yet since I've gotten home, but it is an important option for me. I submit to you that I'm a person of disabilities, as some of you know, and for the first time I'm saying, which I think is true for any of us, my disability is 24/7. I live in Rancho Sahara, and my bus route runs 24/7. And I use the Strip sometimes to come here, or downtown, or the Strip, or the Convention Center. It runs 24/7. The New York City subway runs 24/7. So I am 24/7, and I ride the RTC buses which use those lanes. So I should, as a person who's disabled 24/7, have the opportunity to use all these services 24/7, which you are doing for me. So somebody drove me here this morning, and I'll get on a bus and have one of your professionals drive me somewhere later. I had a very good time at the track meeting, lots of good information. I realize there's a fifth way that I am giving you money. So when I use a TNC, I got an answer that about 22 cents of each gallon of gasoline goes into FRI. And so I would say that for every mile that I travel in a TNC, you're getting about 1 penny. So I'm doing my part towards streets and highways. Thank you. Good roads are good for buses, because if we have bad roads, we beat up the buses. That's all for today. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Good morning, Chairman Brown, CEO, Mayor. I wasn't going to say anything this meeting. I was actually going to sit back and chill. But when I hear comments about, if you don't have anyone, I live here in Vegas on my own. I truly don't have anyone to take care of me. And I realized that as I recently just got over the flu. I'm looking at what we have here. We have 73 square miles less of service area than from what the recession was. However, we were able to grandfather 650 passengers. Since then, we've been able to add back 26 square miles for an additional 2,366 new riders. These individuals were previously not grandfathered in. It has cost now $17.82 million more, even though we have 47 square miles less of service. People need to be responsible of the choices that they make. We had a presentation of what the service area was, what it was reduced to, and where we are back at today. This commission is the only commission in the United States that I know of that has not only exceeded, but gone above what the requirement was under the law. Under the law, it says 3/4 of a mile for paratransit services. This agency has offered up to 1.5 miles of extended services. So as we look at what the future is going to be, we can't hold our agency to a different standard than what's going on in different states. It's not fair. It's not fair to say, this is what the law requires, but I want more. The American Disabilities Act is about equality. Nothing more, nothing less. And if we're going to be equal with ourselves, we have to be equal with our surrounding communities. And I'm just frustrated. Month after month after month, blame after blame after blame. Where if you're grandfathered in and then you move, why are you going to continue to blame you guys? Why are you going to continue to beat that dead horse? It's your fault. Make that ownership of the choice that you made and move on. You want to provide that service. I get it. But looking at the finances, looking at the amount of money, we were spending $29.14 million prior to the recession, and now we're spending like $42 million for paratransit services. So we need to be mindful that when we're requesting something to be done, we should look at the totality for the community rather than just for me. So if we want a service to be extended, Let's look at the entire service, not just let's get my corner covered. Forget everybody else. Thank you so much. And you guys have a happy holiday.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak to the board?
It's your friendly neighborhood bug. I just want to let you know that when I moved here in '93 to help my mom take care of my dad because he was dying of cancer, I had vision. I don't have any now. I've been blind for about 12 months, but it doesn't stop me. And I have moved all around the city. And back then, I can remember as a child growing up in the 60s, coming here on the weekends, there was no buses. And then there was one bus going down the strip, what they call Las Vegas Boulevard. And then it expanded and some buses were taken away, some were added, new routes, whatever. I knew that I was responsible for moving to an area where I could have things that were accessible to me, going to the store, going to doctors, working, whatever. I think it's the person's responsibility to make sure that if you're going to move, research the area before you make that jump. Because it's not the responsibility of RTC to go to the areas where you have chosen. I don't have any family. I don't have a lot of friends that live out here. They live back east, they live in California, etc. I always find a way to get to where I'm going. And whatever assists me in transportation, I truly appreciate it. I have some friends that live beyond your boundaries. I always find a way to get there to visit. If I have to pay for gas out of my own pocket, I put that money aside the month before because I make plans on traveling. So I want to let you guys know that regardless of what people choose, they need to take ownership of whatever the situation may be. Thank you.
Thank you. MJ, I don't know if my colleagues received that email about the UNLV student that had asked for the bus stop enhancements.
I don't think so, because I think it came from one of your constituents, I think.
Okay. Could we shed light on that? I forgot my picture. It's upstairs. But who is staff here that was responsible for that?
They are. Let's see. There's Ellen Marcial, Carl Scarborough, and see that really bright row over there of really talented individuals. They should all stand up, because what they did, there was a gentleman that goes to UNLV, disabled, uses our service. Where he was being picked up, there was no place for him to sit. And he needs it. And so we got the letter, forwarded it to the team, and the very next day there was a shelter for him. He sent us a selfie of himself sitting on the bench. So the fact that it's a team that cares, they were very responsive, and they made sure that the very next day that this person had some comfort. So good job, you guys. Stand up. Stand up. All of you. Ellen.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to the board? Seeing and hearing no one, will close this portion of public comment. A Merry Christmas to all. Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays. Thank you.